Thank you,
Good
Bruce.
evening and good morning, everybody. We have Bruce Lipton here at the Zoom interview, and we are totally excited and thrilled about. And today we will talk about Claudia's second book. It's called the
Intelligence.
Against the Zellen, the intelligence of the cells. And everybody knows Bruce Lipton, so I definitely don't have to introduce you. So if it's okay for everybody, I would begin with the first question. Is that okay?
Yes, it is.
The first question.
First of all, let me say something, okay? Yes. I'm very happy to be here, and I'm very happy that the audience is out there, because these are people that need to hear the new science, because we're going through an evolution. And so the world is looking crazy, but everything is happening right on time. We must change who we are and how we behave. And so the book by Claudia is an important book to help people take their power back at this time as we face evolution.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Beautiful said, and yes, definitely.
Yes.
So the first question would be, Bruce, with your groundbreaking work on epigenetics, you said for me and actually for us all, the foundation of the cell memories, which is today the basic of many, many books and work. In your point of view, what changes from back then when you discover all the things till today changed?
Okay, while I was doing my work on what are called stem cells, and this was 52 years ago, at the time I was also teaching in a medical school about how genes control life. Mm-hmm. And most of the public still believes that genes control life. The problem is this. I ask you, did you pick the genes you came with? And you say, I don't know. So we don't know how we got the genes. Mm-hmm. But I say, if you don't like the characteristics, can you change the genes? And the answer is no, you can't change the genes. And the science has told you that the genes turn on and off by themselves. Mm-hmm. And I say, so what does that mean when you put it all together? It means we are victims of our heredity. Whatever is running in the family, we can expect to have the same thing, like cancer, Alzheimer, diabetes, cardiovascular disease. When we see it running in the family, we believe that genes are doing that, and that I would get these genes as a member of the family, and I will have the same disease. Well, the fact is this, genes do not cause disease like that. There are only 5 genes really that can cause a disease. And genes are not turning on and off by themselves. Mm-hmm. Genes are turning on and off by the consciousness and our mind and our nervous system. So we're not victims because we're the ones that are activating the genes. And therefore, we really have to take a responsibility. Before, when I said the genes did it, you go, oh, I'm a victim, I have no responsibility. But now we know that our thinking and the way we have been programmed as children is what controls the genes. Mm-hmm. And therefore, we are not victims. We are very powerful. But the only way you can be powerful is to know that you control the genes. Mm-hmm. And this is what is new today's work, epigenetics. When the old science, which I was teaching when I was doing this research, was called genetics. And I said, well, what does that mean? I say, well, everyone is familiar, like this disease is under genetic control. Mm-hmm. Genetic control means control by genes and not us. So that's the old belief. The genes are controlling everything. The new science is called epigenetics. And I say, well, what is epigenetic control? I say, well, epi means above. So when I say epigenetic control, I am saying control above the genes. I say, well, what is the control above? And I go, our mind, our consciousness is what is controlling our genes. And therefore, we're not victims of the genes. If anything, we're victims of the mind, but we can change the mind. And all of a sudden it says, oh, wait, If you can change your mind, then you can change your genetics. And I go, yes. And all of a sudden we start to see we're not victims. We are masters of our genetics. We're not victims.
It's beautiful.
What?
It's beautiful said. Claudia, it's now, what do you want to say with this one?
Thank you very much that you say it again, because your powerful and helpful science helped me to find a way to help people to change these patterns of the cell. It's just a translation form to someone told it's in the cell, but it is a pattern. I agree with you all the time, also in my book. So thank you very much, because it helps me so much what I found by my work with the clients and what I found out in the work with my clients to do to help the unconsciousness belief change. And that's why it is, I agree with you, thank you very much, and it helped so much to find out what I found by my way, in science, in the science way.
Well, for me, this is very important, because you are translating this into the German language, and because I'm speaking English doesn't help, but in the German language, then people can understand in their own language what I've been trying to say. Mm-hmm. So, and it's very important, because this new understanding has to go in every language, so everyone around the world knows what we are talking about, because people need their power, especially in today's world.
Yes, it is. I agree with you all the time with this, because it helped so much to find out what I worked and what worked again. But
yes.
Maybe, yes. But Bernadette, stellst du noch eine Frage?
Mm-hmm. The second question, what we, explored, what we want to ask you, is Claudia write in her book about how we can delete the cell memories over and over again to make the way free for more powerful energies. You talk about the honeymoon effect, and Claudia from the original being, an energy of the essence of the core of our being, which is outside of the matrix. In our point, your point of view, how fast is it possible for humans to change these energies, even when they are ill and sick and have old memories in the cell?
Well, the interesting thing again is how we talked about that the mind is sending information to the cells, and that the cells are reflecting the thoughts in the mind. And the relevance is very important, because it says if you change the mind, then by definition, you've changed the cells. And then your question is, how fast can you do this? Well, in healing, especially in cancer, they sometimes talk about spontaneous remission. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Spontaneous remission means instant change. And I go, this is actually real, but your belief has to be strong enough to change that energy, that field, that information. So it's how fast can you do it? And the answer is, well, at the fastest, it's instant. But it's for some people, it takes a little bit longer, because it takes that much time to take control back into your mind. You have to take control back. So for some people, it takes a little bit of time as they are changing their mind to bring in health into the biology.
Maybe it takes a little bit time because of the traumatic experience they had in this life before, in this life, to change also this traumatic experience. And in my opinion, it helps very much when the people clear this traumatic experience way and find a balancing in the brain. Also, then they can use this own inner side experience by herself or himself to heal, isn't it?
Yes, this is exactly what we need to do and understand, is that the energy of the mind is giving shape to the biology. When we change the energy of the mind, which is the way we think, we also change the energy of the biology. And the history, as you said, some of the energy of our biology is not even from this lifetime, it's from previous lifetime. So we carry with us a history. Now, it's interesting because as an adult, you ask an adult, you say, where were you in the previous lifetime? And the adult goes, I don't even know what you're talking about. But if you ask a child, especially about 3 years of age, about 3, you say, where were you before here? Almost all children will give you an answer.
Yes, they remember.
But then we lose the memory very quickly. So, yes, we have a history before we were here, because the first thing we have to understand is this. Are we the physical body? When I say Bruce, is Bruce the physical body? I go, well, Bruce is like a broadcast, like a television broadcast. And the body is like a television set. So my brain is receiving the message from Bruce, which is out here in the atmosphere, okay?
Yeah.
But my brain is receiving the message and then translating it into biology. So the point is very critical. It's like I said, like this is a TV. You're looking at the Bruce TV. But the Bruce show is from like a broadcast. And I say, but if you're watching a TV and the TV breaks, we say the TV is dead. I go, the TV is dead. It's not working anymore. But the question, is the broadcast still there? Even though the TV is dead, is the broadcast still here? And the answer is, well, if you get another TV and you turn it on and tune it to the station, the broadcast is back again. So
that's a nice example.
In the history of humans, we are always the broadcast. The broadcast never dies. It's always there. But the TV, the body, comes and goes. It's like a broken TV. Body is gone. But a new TV will come with the same antennas like you have. And all of a sudden you're back, but you're in a new TV, a new body. I say, does it make a difference if a body is male or female? I go, nope, that's called a TV. I say, does it make a difference if the body is black, white, red, yellow, brown? I go, no, that's the TV. You are not the TV. You are the broadcast being picked up by the TV. So the bodies come and go, but the identity of who you are is always here, whether you have a body or you don't have a body. So for the big surprise for me was, I can't die. I'm not in here. I'm out here. And this was very exciting because the biggest fear that most people have is the fear of death.
Yes.
But if you really understand that you're not the TV, but you're the broadcast and it never dies, then you're immortal. You're always here. And so we have to get rid of the fear of death, because that makes us do bad behaviors when we're so afraid that we do things that are not really good because we're afraid. And operating from fear is the worst part of life. We got to operate from love and hope and beauty, but not from fear, because when you operate from fear, it will make the system sick. And that's why a lot of people have so much illness. It's not because of genes. A fact is here's an important fact. Less than 1% of disease is connected to genes. 99% of disease has nothing to do with genes. It has to do with lifestyle, environment that we live in. And I go, well, we're the ones that control the environment. We're the ones that control the lifestyle. So I said, then we're not victims. We're the ones that can make health, or we can make sickness just based on how we're thinking. So your book, Claudia, is very important because it will help people understand. Stop blaming the body for the problem. Start recognizing the problem is a reflection of mind. Mind you can change. And if you change mind, you can change your life. And this is the important message that your book has to offer people, is that we're not victims, we are very powerful, and we can create the life we want.
Thank you for this support, Bruce, because I feel it, and I worked with people. They change his life and his illness, because one of my part working is also to clean the field in the matrix, to clean it up,
Yes.
to put it in a bigger form of the whole matrix. Think about this and connect it with the human being, of the being with outside of the matrix. And when we feel this outside matrix information in our whole body, it changes the information and the cell. It's pure love of the whole in the whole body of the soul, and then
Yes.
it starts to change all over. Did you work also with this being out of the matrix? I say it in German, it's the hilf mir, Bernadette. It's it's the being out of the matrix.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Because you're mentioning the Matrix, most people have seen the movie The Matrix.
Yes.
Okay. And it's funny because in the video store they put the Matrix in science fiction. But the truth is, the Matrix is a documentary. It's a true story.
Yes,
all of us have been programmed. That is the way that a child becomes part of the family and the community. They have to get a program very early in the first 7 years of life. That's when you learn the behavior, by watching your mother and your father, watching your family and the community. A child learns by watching. And so the first 7 years is programming, okay? After 7 years, then the mind can run the program or the mind can change the program. But most people don't even know they run a program, so they have no idea what's going on. But I love it because in the movie, The Matrix, they had a choice. You could take a blue pill and stay in the story, and life stays exactly the way it is. But they say if you take the red pill, you get out of the matrix. You're free of the program. And I go, here's the fun part. All of us have been programmed, so that part is true. But most of us have taken the red pill at some time and didn't even know we did it. I say, yeah, but your life changed instantly when you took that red pill. I said, well, what was the red pill that almost all of us have taken? I go, when we fall in love big time. We fall in love, we meet somebody and we're so in love. Falling in love stops the program. And then we start controlling by our conscious wishes and desires. So I say, your life every day could be blah, 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 bad life. But then one day you meet someone special and you fall in love. And guess what? 24 hours later, you're like, oh, life is so beautiful. Life is heaven on earth. I love my life. I'm in love. And I go, your life was bad every day. And then one day you meet somebody and the next day you have heaven on earth. That's not an accident. That was the result of the first time you stopped playing the program is when you fell in love. I say, and what happened when you stopped playing the program? I say, your blah, blah, blah life became heaven on earth. And I say, well, why is it relevant? Because heaven on earth is available every day. It's only your program that takes you away from heaven on earth. When you stop playing the program, then you have heaven on earth. So as your book will talk about, Claudia, you can change these programs. And instead of having blah, 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 you can write a new program. You could write heaven on earth program. And you could have heaven on earth every day and be healthy and happy and love every day. The only reason we don't do that is because of the programming that we got when we were children. Programming of fear, programming that we aren't powerful, that we're weak, that we have no power. That's a program. And it's like, that's a false program, because we are creators. Every one of us is a creator. Every one of us is connected to the super divine creator. I know, you call it whatever you want. Some people say God. I say, okay, fine, you want to call God. Each of us is a piece of God, because God is an energy. And each of us is a piece of that energy. And we're creating. And then I go, well, if you don't like what you're creating, don't blame the world. You have to blame the thinking. I go, and the thinking we got from when we were children. So as we grow up, if we understand this, we can change the thinking. And the thinking is what creates an energy field. And the cells match the energy field. If you have positive thoughts, you have positive cells and health. But if you have negative thoughts or fear, then you will actually take away health from the cells. So we have blamed the genes, we have blamed the cells for illness, when the fact is, no, the control is from our thinking. And when you fall in love, that was the one time we automatically stopped playing the program that we got when we were children. And I say, the moment you stop playing the program, you created health and happiness and love. I go, well, then the whole point is, as your book says, Claudia, is, well, change the program. Don't change the body, change the thinking. Because the thinking is setting up the field, and the cells are matching the field. So your cells are a complement to your thinking. Healthy thinking, healthy cells. Fear, afraid, that will cause sick cells. And all of a sudden, it's like, if you look at your cells, it's only a reflection of your mind. If you're healthy, you have a healthy mind. If you're sick, you got bad thinking, and that's where it comes from.
Thank you for encouraging, because the great is, Bruce, that you have your scientific experience behind you. And I encourage people, they have cancer or a bad experience in his life, and
Yes.
I make video for them. Because in my own experience, I had a bad accident, near-death accident, and I changed it also on this way of the neuroplasticity of my brain.
Yes.
I was 60% wie nennt man denn das? Ill, so I couldn't walk and so on. So I changed, and I encourage people to do the same thing, because it's so many possible. And so when you told this, you make a lot of courage for these people at hear this, because it's easier as we think. They think it's so a bad way, and it's a long term, and it needs so much time, but it isn't. It could be easier and quicker. And so thank you very much.
Well, that's the important part. And when I talk about this, sometimes it sounds like a new age. They go, oh, that's like a new age. And I go, no, this is science. This is the hard science of it. And I can just simply say, how did I come across this? Okay. And the answer is, I was what you say, cloning stem cells. Now, stem cells are embryonic cells, so they're not developed, embryonic cells, okay? And the relevance about this is that stem cells are controlled by, when I put them in the petri dish, the fate of the stem cell is determined by the culture medium. Whatever the chemistry of the culture medium is, I make the culture medium in the laboratory, so I can make different versions, a different chemical culture medium. And based on the chemicals in the culture medium, control the genes. So the genes didn't make a decision. The genes were responding to the environment, the culture medium. So I say, okay, what is culture medium? Culture medium is the laboratory version of blood. So when I grow human cells, I look at what is in human blood and then make culture medium based on the same ingredients. But because I can adjust the culture medium ingredients, I can change it a bit. So I make 3 different culture mediums, and I have genetically identical cells in 3 dishes. So all the dishes have cells with the exact same genes, but I have 3 different environments, 3 different culture medium. And in one culture medium, the cells form muscle. In the second version of culture medium, the cells form bone. In the third culture medium, a different culture medium, the cells form fat cells. Well, the conclusion is very important. All the cells were genetically the same. It was only the culture medium environment, the chemistry, that changed the fate of the cell. So the fate of the cell was not controlled by genes. It was controlled by the culture medium. And then you go, okay, that's a laboratory experiment. And I go, now here's the connection. The body, the human body, when you look in the mirror and you see yourself, you say, oh, there's one human being. And I go, no, we're made out of 50 trillion cells. The body is a community of 50 trillion cells. The cells are the living entity. A human being, by definition, is a community of 50 trillion cells. So I say the body is like a skin-covered petri dish. Inside, 50 trillion cells. But I say, is there culture medium? I go, yes, the original culture medium is blood. So that the blood going through the body is the culture medium that controls the genes. So I say, yeah, but in the lab, if I change the chemistry of the culture medium, I change the fate of the cells. And I go, what controls the chemistry of your blood? And the answer is the brain and the mind. The mind determines what chemicals are in the blood. So I say, well, why is it relevant? Because the mind is creating the culture medium, and the culture medium is controlling the cells. So when I say, genes control my life, I go, no, culture medium. I say, yeah, but what's culture medium? Blood. Then I say, and what controls the blood? The nervous system and the picture in your mind. So when you change the picture in your mind, you change the chemistry of the blood, and the chemistry of the blood controls the genes. Mm-hmm. So genes do not control your life. The mind is controlling your life because the mind controls the culture medium. And therefore, happy thoughts have different chemistry. Thoughts of fear have different chemistry. And so the biology is reflecting the chemistry, and the chemistry is connected to the thought. Change the thought, you change the chemistry, you change the genes. And all of a sudden it says your thought is controlling your genes. And therefore, because we can change our thought, as your book talks about, that means you can change your genetic activity. And once you know that, then you are the master, because the intelligence of the cell is the name of the book. Is the cells are intelligent, but they're listening to the master. Mm-hmm. And the master is the mind. Mm-hmm. You change the mind, you change your biology. And this is what it's all about. So the conclusion is simple.
Yes, it sounds so simple. And I very often will ask, it sounds so simple. Why so many people died and have illness and so on?
Okay.
We record now.
Okay.
How? One question for you, because to encouraging the people, you say the brain changed all over the body, the cell, the pattern, and so on, the chemistry, and so on. We understand it well, and thank you for these encouraging words. I have a question. How is the connection for brain thinking and heart thinking? Because many people think in a positive way. They think positive, and they don't mean it, because they say this day is bright and happy, but they don't feel it. And so, in my opinion, there is a big connection to heart and brain. Please tell us about this.
Yes. Well, the first thing we have to understand is even before the heart comes in, there are two minds. One is called conscious mind. One is called subconscious mind. I say, first, what is the difference? I say, conscious mind is connected to your personal identity. Conscious mind is connected to your spirit. That's who you are. No two people have the same conscious mind. Okay? Each one is individual. Subconscious mind is like a computer program. You record a program, and then every time you push the button, the program plays again. So it's sort of like I was going to say like a CD recorder. I record a program on the CD, and when I push play, it plays the program over and over again. Now, these are called habits. And I go, some people think subconscious is evil. I go, no, subconscious is just habit. Sometimes you have good habits, sometimes you have bad habits, but habits are what it is. So I'll give you an example of a good thing. When did you learn how to walk? Before you were 2 years old. Did you have to learn again how to walk? I don't care if you're like me, 75 years old. I'm still walking, but I got from the same program from when I was 2. So I say, thank you, subconscious mind, because I don't have to learn how to walk all the time. I know now, okay? But if we have programs in there, they're going to play the programs. And science says, and here's the problem. Conscious mind is creative. Conscious mind has wishes, desires. What do you want from your life? You say, I want to be healthy. I want to be happy. I want to be in love. I want to make money. Whatever you want. I say that's from conscious, creative mind. Yeah. But here's the problem. 95% of our life is not coming from conscious, creative mind. It's coming from subconscious habits. 95%. And this is where the problem comes from, because we're thinking, how come I'm thinking happy and I'm thinking healthy, but I'm not happy and I'm not healthy? How come? If you say thinking should make it, then I should be happy. And I go, because only 5% of your life is controlled by the creative conscious mind. 95% of your life comes from subconscious program. These are programs that we got mainly before 7 years old by watching your mother and your father and your family. You downloaded behavior, just like a computer, like a video camera. Whatever you see is downloaded. So you learned your mother's behavior, learned your father's behavior, you learned the family behavior, the community. Yeah, and these are in subconscious.
Yeah.
And I say, and so while my wish is to be happy, that's only 5% of the day. 95%, I'm playing from what I learned before 7 years old. And most of that programming before 7 is negative, disempowering, self-sabotaging. These are negative programs that we pick up from our family, and they play 95% of the day. So the first problem is this. I'm thinking positive thoughts. I go, yeah, and how much of the day is positive thought controlling your biology? 5%. 95% coming from your program. And most of the programs are negative. Yeah. So while we have great wishes, our life doesn't look like our wishes. Our life looks like the negative programming, because that's where it came from. So we need to understand that the conscious creative mind with desires and wishes and what you want, when it's thinking, it's not paying attention. So I say, Claudia, Bernadette, tell me what you're doing on Sunday at 2:00. If you're going to find the answer, it's not out here. The answer is inside. You're thinking. I go, oh, so the conscious mind is like driving the biology. I'm driving my wishes and desires. But the moment I'm thinking, my conscious mind goes inside because the answer is inside. That means when I'm thinking, the behavior is now controlled by the autopilot, subconscious. That works when the conscious is not paying attention. And then the science has revealed this number. So this is the part that I emphasize. We are thinking 95% of the day. Well, if you're thinking, that means your life is not controlled by your thinking conscious mind. It is now controlled by autopilot, subconscious, the programs that we got from other people. So 95% of the day, you're not creating your life from wishes and desires. You're creating it from old programs. And if you need to change those programs, again, Claudia, this is what the whole idea is, deleting the program, getting a new program, because the old program is creating the problem. Now, the heart. Let me help people with this for a second. The mind is thinking, okay? Mm-hmm. The heart is feeling. The difference is this. Maybe you could remember in school, I think it was algebra class, where you get a big equation. And the idea is you have to reduce the equation, make it smaller, smaller, and smaller. And if you start with the equation on the top of the page, and then the next level, you make it a little smaller, and then a little smaller, and a little smaller, and you go down the page, and at the bottom, you make the smallest equation. I go, every step was thinking. Mm-hmm. If you make one small error, just one little error, the bottom line is the wrong answer, okay? But the heart doesn't do thinking. The heart does feeling. Feeling is energy. When the energy is good, the heart has good vibes. But when the energy is bad, we have bad vibes, okay? And so why is it relevant? The heart doesn't do the equation like the thinking mind. The heart just says, give me the energy at the bottom. Is the energy good or is the energy bad? That's all it does. So I say, well, if I have to make a decision about my life, should I do this or should I do this? Two ways to think. One is use the conscious mind and think about all the reasons why I could do this, why I should do this, what will happen. That's like the reducing the equation. And I said, just one error in the thought, the answer is wrong. But if I go to my heart and just say, should I do this or should I not do this? The heart just says yes or no, because all it does is read the energy. So the point is this: when it's time to make a decision in your life, think about the answer. That's fine. Go ahead, think about it. But before you make the final decision, the last decision is from your heart. Mm. The last one, you just say to your heart, how do I feel about this? Do I feel positive or do I feel negative, bad vibe? And the answer is whatever that one is, that's the correct answer. So we always spend our time thinking, but we should spend more time feeling, because the feeling will tell you whether the energy is going to give you life. Energy is life. That's bad. Energy is life. More energy, more life. Less energy, less life. And so when you read your heart just reads like a gauge. More energy, less energy. That's all it's reading. And therefore, when you make a decision, you could think about it. But I said, one wrong thought, the answer is wrong. Mm-hmm. But the heart doesn't have to think. All it does is just look at the energy. So the heart is an important component in making our understanding of life, because the heart is going to read the energy of the field. It feels good or feels bad, that's the result. And the answer is that the heart is more accurate, because it doesn't have to do thinking, it just does feeling. And so in our world today, yes, you can think about what you should do, but before you make a decision, feel the decision, because the heart is more accurate in reading than is the brain.
Did it also have a lot of more frequency? Because the frequency of the heart is a lot of more of the frequency of the energy of the brain.
Yeah, the energy of the heart, as I said, is just a gauge. It's just a gauge to read good vibes, bad vibes. That's all it does. But the answer is good vibes means something you want, and bad vibes means something you don't want. So that's the answer. Yes, no. It's either or.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, isn't it like kind of an intuition already? It's like we know the answer like instantly.
Yes.
But most of the time we don't either believe it or just don't listen to it.
You don't listen. Mostly we don't listen, and then sometimes we just question it.
Yeah.
And I say, yeah, well, I had a good feeling, but I can give you some reasons why it's wrong. I said, don't think, just feel. Because once you start thinking, that's where an interpretation could be wrong. Just one. And the whole answer is wrong after that. So it is really to go by your heart is the main compass, the one that tells you the direction. The heart tells you yes or no, and that's what you want to know.
Thank you for this explaining, because this also a part of the book and also part of my work, to work with people to encourage the heart frequency and open the heart and
I just made that's product placement.
And open the heart for and release the fear. It's in the brain, but to release the fear and give the force in a big picture of tomorrow and the way how it works tomorrow. The big pictures in the brain are interconnecting with the heart, and then it goes all over the body.
Right. So the picture in your mind will create the picture in your body.
Yes.
And that's why we have to be very careful of what we are thinking, because that thought will be translated by the brain into chemistry, and the chemistry will control the genes. So we are very powerful, but people are not told that. People are just put into fear. Be afraid of your health. Be afraid you won't have any money. Be afraid there's violence going on. Be afraid. And all day long we have fear. And I said, what's the picture? I said, the picture is not happy. The picture isn't health. These are very bad pictures. I go, yeah, but the body is going to be a complement to the picture.
Yeah.
So we have to start clearing up these thoughts and get them out, because they're the ones that will give us the disease. The sickness is coming not from the genes. The sickness is coming from the thought.
That's why your work is so big and so good for all people all over the world, and it is so necessary to understand this. And thank you very much for this. It's really good and really big work that you do.
Well, I appreciate what you're doing, because I said translating this into the local language is what is necessary. You know, it's interesting because you go back and I say, because in Central Europe, remember, the church used to write in Latin. And the people had no idea what that was in Latin. They didn't understand Latin, but they just went, oh, okay, whatever you say. But then Gutenberg changed it and put it in the local language.
Yes.
And once it was in the local language, people had power. And so I want to thank you, because like a Gutenberg, you're taking what I'm trying to say in the English language, but translated for the community that you're writing for. And this becomes very important, because they need to hear it in their language, not my language, but in your language. So thank you for helping get this empowering information to people, because we're facing a world of crisis, and humans are creating extinction. We're facing extinction, and it's due to human behavior. So the only way out is to change the behavior, because people don't even recognize that the thinking and the behavior is controlling the life we live, that we have. So you want to make a better life. It's not to change the body, it's to change the thinking. And then we have a better life.
And I think we also have to show them the difference. Because,
absolutely.
Because this one thing, it's like talking about, it's another thing when you feel it. Because I'm working in a similar field than Claudia. And when they feel themselves, the change in them, then we have it. Then we have this click. And that's so wonderful to see when people are changed. I think it's the same with you when you're working, probably the same with you, Bruce. It's like when I see the glowing in the eyes again of the people, I know that they can feel themselves again. And that's a huge difference.
Yeah. That's why I love my job. I love my job,
yes,
because my
I
job
understand that.
is to show people that they are powerful. I'm powerful for me, but every person is powerful for themselves.
Yeah.
And yet, think about the history, because the program we got is, oh, you're not powerful. Who do you think you are? You can't do this, and you can't do this. And it's like they take away our power. And the idea is, when you give people the power back, you can see their lives change right in front of your face.
Yes.
That all of a sudden, and that for me is the great reward. And I believe for you, Bernadette and Claudia, I think that basically the whole idea is you can see people's lives glow and become healthy. And that makes our lives pretty good too, doesn't it?
Yes, it is.
It's like nurturing. I always say it's like nurturing each other.
It's what it's all about. We have to lift ourselves up. We can't wait for something from above to lift us up. No. We're the ones. We have to lift ourselves up. And so this is personal empowerment. Yeah.
Most beautiful way to do. And I think that question 3 fits perfectly to this one, because your quote, "You are the universe expressing itself as a human for a little while. What's in the biology of change is your core message." In your opinion, why is it exactly now so important to hear this message for our original being?
Okay, well, why it's so important is this. First of all, look at the health crisis that's affecting the whole planet. So much cancer. Oh, it's like an epidemic of cancer. Children are having an epidemic of attention deficit disorder, autism, epidemic. And we keep looking at this and saying, oh, what's wrong with the biology and the genes? I go, that had nothing to do with it. It all had to do with the thinking. And I also said that human behavior is destroying the environment because of our belief we can do anything we want. It's like, no, we have to learn to live in harmony. We can't do what we want. We have to learn to live in harmony with the planet. And to do this, we have to change our belief, because it's our belief that controls our behavior. And if you want to have a behavior that creates health and happiness and love, well, then we have to make sure the beliefs match that. And so your work and Claudia's book is really saying, if your life does not see joy and happiness and health, then it's not, don't blame the world. We have to go back inside and say, maybe our programming, which is usually the problem, is keeping us from experiencing the health, the happiness, the heaven on earth. And as I said, when people have fallen in love, even if they just had a short period called the honeymoon, it could just be a week, I have no idea, where you feel like life is beautiful, that life is heaven on earth. I go, that experience was available all of the time. The only reason we don't have a honeymoon all of the time is because our old programming will take away the joy. The old programming will eliminate the love, and the old programming will put us back into the old place. And then the honeymoon disappears. The honeymoon is available, but you have to have a better consciousness and not the bad programming that almost all of us got.
Great. And it encourages so much the people that hear this in the next time.
Now I ask the next question. Is that okay, Claudia?
I think it is finished. Bruce answered all what we want to say.
Well, let me then close, because if I can make a final remark, then I would love to do that. And my final remark is simply this. We are very powerful creators. What we have to own is that we are creating. Because if we own we're creating and we don't like what we're creating and we're the creator, then we know we're the ones that can change the creation. Yes. And this is what we have to learn. And if we don't like the way it's working, we don't like our health issues, we don't like our social issues, we don't like our family issues, don't wait for the outside to change. It will only work when the inside changes. The intelligence of the system is revealing us. So your life is a reflection of your thinking. If the life doesn't look so good, the answer is change the thinking. So both of you are just wonderful contributors. Both you, Bernadette and Claudia, thank you, because you're helping individuals get their power back. And the only way the planet will change is when individuals change. Not wait for the environment, we have to change us. And that's where all the creation comes from. And both of you are very much involved with creating this change that will help us survive on this planet and bring the love back. Because everyone could have heaven on earth every day. It's only the program. So thank you both for your contributions to making a better world for all of us. It's very deeply appreciated.
My Bruce.
We do actually a lot together, Claudia and I. And this year we also want to create our own research center. Because I'm really more into research. I did more into DNA, like research a lot. See it in a way different way than what's usual out there. And when in Austria it's like you have to be really scientific proven to really reach those people who can do changes, and that are doctors and therapists. And when they begin to see outside of the box, they really see that you can do way much more changes and help way much more people. So that's why we found each other, I think. And I'm really more than delighted that we had this interview today, and to see that we are all going in the same direction. I think it's just a beautiful feeling when you see that you're not so wrong out there, because we have a different thinking. And I think just when you make every single day a small step in a direction, and you get way much more awareness who you are, what you are capable of. I always say, remember your birthright and fully live it, because children just know, and we could learn so much more from children than vice versa. And I think it's just time that we listen way much more to the children and just go back and do way much more joyful stuff.
The children were born in love. They didn't know anything different than love and kindness until we teach them something different. They came into this world as expressions of love, and then we changed their thinking and created the problems. So you're right. We should go back, watch the children, learn from the children, and copy them, because
and have tons
they
of
came
fun
with the right plan.
Yes. I do for more than 20 years. I nurture women, especially moms, because I have one saying: when you nurture mom, you nurture a whole family, and you nurture the whole universe.
Absolutely. And this is time, and this is the beautiful time why I guess here we call it the Me Too generation. I don't know what in Europe they refer to it as, but it's time, because the world was run by people working together. Then the women took over, and that was called matriarch world. And then the men took over, patriarch world. And neither separate. When separate, it doesn't work.
No.
So the new world is the new world is to bring men and women in equal footing, so we can work in harmony, not men or women, both at the same time. And this is why we have the Me Too generation waking up, saying the women need the power back, and the men have to give that power back, so that we're all working on the same plane, not the men up here and the women here. No, we're all on the same plane. And this is a wake-up call for the world.
Oh, yes.
Because the women have a different connection to the universe than men have. But together, you need both of them. It doesn't work with just one or the other.
No.
And so it's not get rid of the men, it's bring the women equal.
Yeah.
And so,
and that's the healing.
and this work is, and it's why your work is so important for children, because they need to learn that from the beginning. Children need to learn the equal.
Yes.
Because if we start teaching men are different than women from the baby point of view, they grow up with that. And so, yeah, so it's an important time for all of us to start to recognize it's time to bring peace and love and harmony back. And so I'm glad to be on the same team with you. We're doing a great job because this is the future of our planet.
Oh, yes. That's why I'm creating right now a team of men coaching men. And they get all my tools because I create a lot of tools. And they get all the tools because, in my opinion, I grew up with men and we only can nurture each other on eye level. And exactly. We women did so much, but we totally forgot about the boys and the men. And then for me, it's actually, I see it as duty to bring now men, because you're just different and I love it. It's just, we can learn from each other. And I think there's so much, it can be so much harmony, but we just forgot it. And as you said, as child, it doesn't matter if you're a girl or a boy in the first years. It's just having fun and they're just exploring the world. And for some reason, they begin, this is the male stuff and this is the female stuff and all the things. And I'm like, no, we are humans. That should be it should be the first part. And that's why I'm building up what I'm doing. So I'm so thrilled and happy that we had this interview today, because just only knowing that we go like in the same direction is just beautiful. It's just, it's heartwarming and it's just beautiful. So
thank you. Dankeschön.
Dankeschön.
Bruce, thank you very, very much for this really fine outlook and positive outlook, and it will encourage all people that hear this, and you make such a big job. Thank you very much, really.
And
thank you.
We will be pleased when you're coming to Europe again, maybe to Philharmonie, to Monica or so, because that would be awesome.
Well, I know we return in October or September, I think, to Europe. So I'm not really sure yet, but on my website, they give the information.
We will check it out and we will bring you chocolate. I hope you like chocolate again.
Well, I hope to see you there. That would be fun.
Yes. I think that too.
Thank you very much. Enjoy your day, and thank you for your time that you spent with us.
Thank you, Claudia. Thank you, Bernadette. So appreciate it. We'll talk again soon.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.